Loaded.
I would like to call to order the regularly scheduled board meeting of the Parish Union School District Number 95 Board of Education for Monday, August the 6th. Let the record show that all members are present. The voting sequence for this meeting is as follows: Isaac, Sanchez, Tuttle, Arbuckle, Bailey, Hassler, and Davis. Audience of visitors, anybody in the audience?
Is there any movement on consolidation or the hunt for a new superintendent?
Yes.
Okay.
I can answer that too, a little bit of that. We have worked on a study, the consolidation study, and Lorraine and I met today. We got a preliminary report that talked about some good ways we could share some things and possibly come together, but we were informed just a couple of days ago that the state board wants them to include more information in the study, so it's not done. They wanted more information actually on the high school, so I don't know if they want that folded in to show that we have really reorganized at least once, you know, in a certain form, and that, so I don't know exactly what all, but he said he could be adding that and getting us the report. Of course, we have the school board association come, and that can be turned in at any time. They can, or just post it. But I think we were kind of waiting to see a little bit of what the study said and what they felt we might be able to share and do.
Well, the state board will change their mind 3 or 4 times, as you well know.
Right. Well, they're paying for the study, so they,
Yeah.
they said they wanted more included about the high school. And I'm not going to say I disagree on that because it was kind of added in as kind of an afterthought, but we kept trying to tell the gentleman doing it that it's not a district, it's still our districts. So it was kind of, I think they just thought they needed more input on this, if it saved us money and, you know, that kind of information as far as after we came together. So we'll be making that public.
I'm just a board member, Chuck. I'm just trying to see if we can get to a break even. I mean,
Oh,
if we
yeah.
can break even, I'm all for it, but I really can't be for it if we're going to increase taxes just to consolidate.
Or lose money, no.
Right. Anyone else? Okay. Consent agenda. In your packet, you have the July board minutes, a list of bills, and the June treasurer's report. Does anyone have any questions on the consent agenda this evening? If not, I entertain a motion to approve. Isaac?
Yes.
Sanchez?
Yes.
Tuttle?
Yes.
Arbuckle?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Hassler?
Yes.
Davis is yes. Secretary's report.
I got to thank you here, the District 95 Board of Education. Thanks so much for the moment of silence and the beautiful floral arrangement for our daughter Lindsay. Thank you for allowing us to be part of the District 95 family. All you've done means so much to all of us. God bless you all who've done this in Robert's family.
Superintendent's agenda.
Okay. First thing on the agenda is the tentative budget. As you know, the budget will lay for 30 days. I have a budget before you. It is a balanced budget. We are predicting to have about $2 million cash on hand at the end of the year. We are going to show a slight deficit in the ed fund. Overall, we aren't going to have a deficit budget, but just due to some expenditures over projected revenue. We projected our revenue at approximately the same state aid as we received last year. They've told us we may see a slight increase, but that and not knowing about the transportation and what decrease we'll see, we kept it, I like to be very conservative that way. It is just a working document like your budgets at home. So as you know, if things change or if we don't receive certain monies, we will adjust as needed. We did not receive our last state aid payment this year, approximately $271,000. I would predict that that will happen again next year. That used to be the case. It used to be kind of commonplace that last payment didn't come through. We didn't see that for many years, but now with the budget or the state and the shape they're in, I would imagine that will happen. Another reason our budget's down around $10 million. 10.2, it's down some because we did receive over $1 million in federal ARA money when the president gave a lot of ARA money for technology. We also had used that money to help offset costs for special education aids and all before. So there's where we're seeing a little bit of adjustment back. We don't reduce the staff, but in the ed fund. So that did help out for a couple of years, but that money has come to an end. But we're still looking at a balanced budget. I'm not worried about the budget at this point. We always, by January, if we put a pretty good hold on expenditures, all your classroom supplies and those kinds of things are already in. Those come in the biggest part of your budget, the first part of the year, other than your ongoing salaries and those kind of things. Our insurance, health insurance, actually we're seeing a decrease around 2%, was it, Aaron? I think it went down anyway, which is phenomenal for us, to see that. That was good. I always call early and ask them for a projection, at least by May, and I know it's hard to do, but they've been good. Diamond Brothers been good about calling the companies and really working at it and trying to get us some kind of a projection, and when it went down, I've heard of places going up 8, 10, 15%. So that was good news for the district. So all in all, I feel comfortable with the budget the way it is. It will lay for 30 days, however, for public inspection. We'll have a hearing before the next board meeting, and then we will adopt the budget formally. It has to lay for 30 days, and then it will be sent to the state. So the only problem we have, if we were projecting a deficit budget, then you have some work to do, but we are not projecting that. It will be a balanced budget. At this time, I would ask that the Board of Education approve the tentative budget for the 2012-13 school year.
Connie, could I ask, I'm a little unclear, on that last state aid payment, is it we don't get it
We won't get it.
at all?
They used to say they'd make it up, or they try to make it. I don't think any district's anticipating getting that state aid payment. And in years past, when we would miss, they would send you 2 your last month or something, we'd get 1, and then that was all you saw. We were fortunate that most of our grant monies that they were behind on, we've gotten those, the grant dollars. But as far as the state aid, it's just what happens. They run short, and they may voucher it, but I doubt we're going to see it. Now, if and when we do, and it's always just going to be a catch-up though, but I doubt we will see that 271,000.
I'll make the motion to approve, and then I have a question.
Second.
Do we budget for the missing of that last payment? I mean, do we assume?
Yeah, that's why we budgeted lower for revenue, was
Okay.
because we're assuming
You may
we're
have
going
said
to
that,
miss
I
it,
missed
we're going to
it.
miss it again.
Okay.
We kind of anticipated our revenue and state aid a little bit lower than what they're saying. It may go up slightly, but knowing even if it does, we probably won't receive. And if we do, it's a great
Yeah, it's a
surprise, and it's a windfall, but as long as the administration and everyone knows and we know what we're dealing with and we're being conservative, that's how we've always ended up with some money left.
Is there any talk of them going to not just one payment missed, but 2?
They have talked it, but there's been talk
I didn't know
about
if it was-
superintendents and all that say, we'll be lucky if it, at some point. It's just a guessing game.
They have in the past.
Yeah, they
They
have
missed more
passed
than
this
once.
too. Oh, yeah. And you don't get them back. Once the state aid
Well,
payments
that's
are
good.
missed. And it's usually on the back end, it's right at the end of the year and right when you're getting ready for your audits, and then you're counting on that money coming in, and it just doesn't.
Do you know from other districts that have consolidated that were promised incentive money? Does the state usually come through with that money, or do they
They
pull it
have
districts?
so far, well, they can, they haven't so far, because we've seen the incentive dollars at the high school.
Right.
And we got incentive dollars because it's like I said in that study, we did reorganize.
Right.
And there were incentive dollars, and we've received those. Now, there's been talk of, will the state have it? I mean, I don't know, so you can't promise. But I think if they have it, if there's any way they can do it, they will try to get those
Is
incentive
this a
dollars.
4-year
It's a
payment?
4-year.
Yeah.
So,
Does anyone else have any questions? We have a motion and a second, so Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Arbuckle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Hessler,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
okay. The next thing I have, for retirement request and some resignations, but the retirement request comes from Janie Lawton. She is one of our traveling LD teachers for the district, and she has informed us of her intent to retire at the end of the 2015-16 school year, and as per the current contract with the APT and the Board of Education, she would be requesting the 6% incentive for those 4 years. I ask the board approve this retirement request.
Any discussion? If not, Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
Arbuckle.
Yes.
Bailey. Hessler.
Yes.
Davis is yes.
Okay, you have a resignation in your packet from Monica Herman. Harmon, I want to say Urman. Third grade teacher at Webb School. She indicates that she's accepted a position closer to her hometown. I would ask the board to accept the resignation of Monica Harmon.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Isaac.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
Arbuckle.
Yes.
Bailey. Hessler.
Yes.
Davis is yes.
John, did you have a question or?
No.
Okay. And we had, we also received a letter of resignation from, I could have taken those together, but I didn't. We have, you can kind of put the other two together,
Sure.
even if you have a question, you could ask. Received a letter from Lisa Phillips, who was the elementary art teacher for the district, and Lisa has she just had a new child. She's moved closer to her parents' home down by Hudsonville, and she is asked to resign effective immediately. Also received a resignation from Brianna Knobloch. She's resigning her position as special education preschool teacher at Memorial School, but I do have recommendations to replace both of those positions this evening. So this time I would ask the board approve the resignation of Amy Phillips as elementary art and Brianna Knobloch as the special ed preschool.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Isaac.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
Arbuckle.
Yes.
Bailey. Hessler.
Yes.
Davis is yes.
Okay. Next, under employments, I have several employments this evening. The first one is we have a BD itinerant position. This position has been filled by Cheryl Redmond for the past several years. 4 or 5 years ago, we did an analysis of what we were spending through the Eastern Illinois area special ed, and that is when we employed our own school psychologists. We also employed our own social workers, and actually the only services we contract are occupational and physical therapy and some hearing impaired services. So by doing that, we saved significantly on Mrs. Redmond's salary from what we were being billed through the co-op. Cheryl, when she came in, the itinerant position actually goes from building to building and sees students and confers with teachers and does classroom analysis of students who are not actually on a behavior plan. We're trying to work through and try to keep those students from becoming more of a behavior issue. When we employed Cheryl full-time for that position, we assigned her several other duties, such as our PBIS program. She was kind of in charge of that, our behavioral program, our RTI. She did lots of things for each building in RTI, response to intervention, as well as scored a lot of the tests for us. Her actual roster has gone down as far as behavior, and I'm going to have to say, due to our behavioral programs, our response to intervention, we're not identifying as many students, we're catching them early. We did also hire reading aides with college degrees that do a lot of our Ames Web scoring and those kinds of things, and we have aides in every building that we did not have before. So at this time, I'm going to recommend that Cheryl Redmond comes back and works on a contractual basis, just as we've done with Jane Whitmer, Russ Whitmer, and lots of other teachers that come back on their 100th day to fill the BD itinerant position for the 2012-13 school year. So that would be my recommendation, and that's my explanation on this too. If you question how could she do that on a part-time amount without hiring a full-time person. So I've made a recommendation, yeah. It's a lengthy one, but.
Any discussion?
I'm just curious, did anybody else apply for the position, or this was?
Yeah, we had one person internally ask about a transfer, and then we had another opening after that I believe we could have offered that person. We had another BD opening that they were not interested in, so.
Isaac.
Yes.
Sanchez.
Yes.
Tuttle.
Yes.
Arbuckle.
Yes.
Bailey.
Yes.
Hessler.
Yes.
Davis is yes.
And to be quite honest, I was anticipating doing this if we could, whether we had 20 applicants, because I know we can get by with doing this, so financially, that would have been my recommendation either way. Oh, another thing I wanted to mention too, Cheryl's also our TCI trainer, and she is certified. We spent quite a bit of money in training her. She trains staff every year in physical restraints if needed, or to talk down students, so she's also our trainer. We used to send staff out for all of that training, so we can have someone on staff locally, which I think is a good thing. Next, we have an elementary teacher recommendation. I think I'll go through each of these separately because they're for different buildings. And I have a recommendation from Mrs. Perry to employ Robbie Albert to fill the 3rd grade vacancy that was left by Monica Harmon. Robbie has been employed as Title I paraprofessional for the 2011-12 school year. All of our paraprofessionals in Title I do hold, most of them hold all teaching certificates actually. We did ask that they hold a 4-year degree. So at this time, I'd ask the board to approve Robbie Albert to serve as 3rd grade teacher at my school for the 2012-13 school year.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
I was curious, I know Mrs. Perry, how
She's-
many people apply for that position?
We had posted earlier just as an elementary position, and it was like for the 5th grade, and I went back through there when we reposted for this one. Oh, I probably got less than 10 this time, but I had gone back through some of the other ones that we had too, from earlier this summer.
Anyone else? If not, Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Arbuckle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Hessler,
Yes.
Davis, yes.
Next, to fill the art position, and I can tell you now, we didn't get very many applications for this one. We got several, got a couple. 3 was offered to the first person, have to think about it, second person, have to think about it after they applied. And it wasn't the pay, it was location, I think, more than I really thought that we have tons of applications that districts might be cutting programs such as the fine arts and things, but we really did not. So Mrs. Perry is recommending this time, and along with Mr. Whitaker, the employment of Jessica Burris to fill the elementary art position. You had a copy of her resume and all in your materials for that position. So that would be the recommendation for the art.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Arbuckle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Hessler,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
And for the special ed preschool, how many did we get? Recommendations, do you know?
One recommendation.
I mean, not
Four
recommendations, I mean
Four.
applicants, 4 applicants for that. Well, I mean, it is interesting to know, because it used to be we would get no applicants for special ed, you just didn't find them. Then more recent years, speech therapists, now we've had more applications, so I don't know, just they go in cycles, and of course you have to have that certification to do this, it's a very specialized for the preschool. So Mr. Whitaker has put a recommendation in for Caleb Goodwin to fill the vacancy for his special ed preschool at Memorial School, and I would ask that the board approve this recommendation.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? If not, Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Arbuckle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Hessler,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
Okay. We have the cook's position that came open at Wentz School, and Darla Davidson, our food service director, has made a recommendation for Lori Corti to fill that position. I've asked the board to approve the employment of Lori for the 2012-13 school year.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Arbuckle,
Yes.
Bailey, Hessler,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
And I will say that Darla always talks with the cooks and usually with the administration, but basically with the cooks in the building, and to talk about which subs have worked out in the past and before she makes her recommendations. We have a volunteer basketball coach position that was recommended by Mr. Sperry. He is recommending to employ Andy Best to serve as volunteer coach for the 7th grade girls basketball at Mayo Middle School. I'd ask the board to approve this employment.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Arbuckle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Haslett,
Yes.
Davis, yes.
Okay, you also have in your packet a list of substitute teachers as well as substitute support staff to begin the 2012-13 school year. We always ask that the board approve the list, and we do the appropriate checks and background checks. Throughout the year, people are added and dropped from that list, but at this time, that is the list that we have. So I would ask the board approve the certified and non-certified sub-list for the 12-13 school year.
So moved.
Any
I
discussion?
do have a quick question.
Okay.
Connie, what kind of background checks do we do? I mean,
Criminal background checks and anything that would go through the sheriff's. And
is there any screening or anything like that?
Well, we go to the sheriff's department. and
Sorry.
Fingerprint.
FBI, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it goes FBI, it goes, yeah.
Okay.
So, and if
I just
it's
didn't
a
know what-
felony or anything that's against any rules for schools, you know, I mean, there have been people who get a DUI or something that is not against school rule, you know, to work in
Sure.
public school, but if you had a criminal offense that was a violation of statute, that's what we always check for.
Thanks. I just didn't know what we.
And then most of our subs, they're down for at least more than one district as well. So they may come in and they'll sign for us and they'll go to Crestwood and they're on both lists most of the time.
Thank you.
Anyone else? If not, Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Arbuckle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Haslett,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
Okay, I'm going to put the two food services together. We do provide food for St. Mary's and
Could
we
you
have
put
started.
those separately, please?
Oh, but you were, okay, you have to abstain.
Yeah.
Okay, first one is St. Mary's. St. Mary's, once again, we are asking, I'm asking the board to approve to renew their lunch contract. The prices will remain the same at $2.50 because theirs was always higher than what we had charged for the district. And so we're not raising that at all, so I'd ask the board to approve the lunch price contract with St. Mary's.
Any discussion? If not, Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Arbuckle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Haslett,
Yes.
Davis abstains.
Okay, and then the next is the Head Start lunch agreement, and we have done the same with Head Start, and there's no change in the fee. So I would ask that the board approve the food service agreement with the Head Start program.
So,
Second.
Any discussion? If not, Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
yes.
Arbuckle,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Haslett,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
Okay, the next is the Head Start lease agreement. At this time, we usually renew our lease for 2 years with Head Start. Our lease is at $17.25 a month now. Their program is over in the building right up front. I had asked for an increase, which up to $17.50. The director there had asked me if we would consider waiting until at least April to increase. Their budget runs, I think, from April to April. I was not aware of that. She said they didn't write anything in for that. So I am going to call her if the board does not object. I'd like to renew the lease either way. But I would like to call her as well and say we would leave it at the $17.25, but then maybe go up even a little bit more to make up for the next year, to make up for what we would have increased it this year. And I think then they could write that in their grant. That would give them ample time to do that. But they've been a really good program to have. We want them here because we coordinate our preschool services, and when we do our screening, we make sure that almost everybody that comes through the screening now either gets in our Creative Center or the Head Start if they need it. And I think we've seen a big difference in our kindergarten program because of that. So,
I would even suggest if it's an issue, we leave it the same. Just
yeah,
keep
it won't be
tab.
an issue. It won't be
If it
an
does,
issue.
I think
Yeah,
we'll
with
apply.
utilities going up, but no, if it would be an issue where they could not increase or would not, I would have asked the board just to leave the same. But usually it's a grant like every other, and they do usually give so much of an increase every year, so I'm sure they won't have a problem with that, but.
But if they do,
If they
just leave
do,
it, we'll just
yes.
leave it.
Are we still going to do a 2-year lease?
Yes.
But
Just, I was thinking about modifying just the amount. The lease would stay the same and all the stipulations in the lease, who does the maintenance and how. And we've taken on a lot of the maintenance over there because Sam, as you know, he wants to make sure it's done our way. So, we want to make sure something's being installed or something's being done that we're overseeing that. So they've been good to work with, and so well, I'd ask the board to approve another 2-year lease, I guess, with the early Head Start.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, further discussion? If not, Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Arbuckle,
Yes.
Bailey, Hassel,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
We have a Head Start collaborative agreement that we sign every year, and this basically just says that we will coordinate and collaborate with our programs. If they have any students that need special ed at age 3, we will make sure they get tested and get in the program. We also have a transition agreement that we do between Child and Family Connections, and this is a program that works with young children, and once they become 3, they may have had special needs. We do an agreement with them as well that just simply states, as per the statute and the law, we really don't have an option there anyway, that once that child turns, we will make sure they are tested and receive appropriate programming. So I would ask the board approve the Head Start collaborative agreement as well as the transitioning agreement with Child and Family Connections.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? If not, Isaac,
Yes.
Sanchez,
Yes.
Tuttle,
Yes.
Arbuckle,
Yes.
Bailey, Hassler,
Yes.
Davis is yes.
Okay. The rest of the things are just informational items, and I did want to point out that the September board meeting, being this Labor Day, we need to let our budget set longer than that as well. I'll check to see, I'll kind of look over the agenda, but if we could have it at 4 before the co-op meeting, it would be on the same Monday, then it'd be the second Monday. And if that seems to work for people, we'll go ahead and post it. And if you prefer, we could hold it here, we could hold it in the high school in room 11, so.
What day was that?
Let's see, when we schedule it for the 6th? And it'd be, I don't know what it is, second Monday.
10th.
10th,
10th.
yeah.
Okay, that's fine with me.
And that will give the budget 30 days to lay. Then Jeremy did have some things for you, and I handed out tonight, where we put the revisions made to the faculty and student handbook, and some other announcements from Mayo School. The teacher breakfast, the annual breakfast, will be on Wednesday, August 15th, 8:30 at Lake Ridge Church, and all board members are invited to that, so if you can come, it's always nice to have some board members there. And then you have information on the open houses for the different schools. Wednesday evening memorials is scheduled 4:30 to 5:30, and Wednesday from 5 to 6. Mayo's open house is from 6 to 7, and that is on the 14th or on the 15th. And this is an opportunity for parents, students, and it's always nice to see some board members there as well at the schools. So hope to see some of you there. That's it for the superintendent's agenda.
The transition agreement with the child.
I did them both together.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I asked to do both agreements, the Head Start, basically they're the same, they're just basically saying if we get students in need from either one of their programs, the district will test them.
Who's going to do that?
You want to go forward?
Okay. Committee reports?
I was going to bring up, and Connie might ask your information on the current status of the high school building. It's progressing, and I know there had been a lot in paper weeks, but are they starting groundwork out there?
They are, they've done some borings, and they've done a well for the geothermal. I have not heard back, I've not heard anything definitively. I think there were no problems with it, but we need to get, Lorraine and Dave and I actually met today, because things are starting to really move now, and there's, you might get a stack of emails that thick if you print them off now. So we talked about the importance of the 3 of us staying together on this, because it's moving so fast, and I don't want any of you to walk into town and someone to ask you why we're only having so many showers, or and it's hard to keep up on that over here. We're not doing this in a locker room, so we're trying to keep abreast of this to make sure you all get the information, because we want to make sure both full boards are aware of what's happening, what's going on, when they're going to start clearing the land. They had said they would have their first bids, Turner, for the to start some of the site clearing, anything under 4 inches in diameter, even trees. I don't think those bids, what Dave said today, got out. yet. So I don't know if they're working on doing one for both and starting it, because they need to do some of that, from what I hear, to do some other drillings for the foundation of the building. But we kind of talked about today just the importance, because, you know, Dave will get a call, or I might hear from Mark Ritz from BLDD, and Ray might hear something over here, so we thought it would just be, from here on out, I think we're gonna have so much coming down that we're all gonna sit and meet at least weekly.
Could we get something like, and I'll talk about this later, but could we get something like coordinated, like from the three of you to all of us
Yes.
on both boards, so we're all getting the same?
Yes,
information?
because I'll ask Frank, are you sending the board all of this, or are we sending part of it? Not that there's anything you wouldn't want, there's so much stuff in some of these emails that you probably
Yeah.
don't. I just wanna make sure everybody feels like they're getting the same thing to make a decision. We did have a meeting in Aurora on colors and things, and they're gonna come and talk to everyone about that, the color palettes and for the theater. So I do have some handouts from that meeting that I'm gonna send this week, but it's kind of hard when you don't have colored pictures to help show you the different palettes and things they talked about. But they're really moving now and things.
I mean, to me, these are all really neat things. These
Yeah.
are good things that we've waited a long
that
time
we
to
need
do. And we all don't need to make the decisions on every,
Right, no.
what kind of toilet paper holders to have, that kind of stuff, but I mean.
But whether we put a soccer field with our football field, or whether we have adequate showers for kids, you know, I think we all have to talk about it. Because you hear it, Tom, you've got one opinion of what's enough showers, and you hear it of what's enough theater seats, and I think everybody needs to hear it, because you all have your own interest that at least we could say, well, yeah, we would like to have more seats, but it's gonna cost $1 million more. Or, you know what, adding a shower is not really that big a deal, and I guess a lot of the kids do shower after practice in the mornings.
Not nearly enough.
It's it's interesting you bring up about the showers, because there's one community member that asks me that about every week.
Trust me, that probably has asked me. And when I didn't know, then it was kind of, you know, it's like, I think we said 4, but then it was down to 2, and now it's back to, you know, that we probably will do 4 in each. And so there'd be 8 for the girls, 8 for, because we don't have a field house built in here. The kids will be, you know, they'll be coming inside, and so that is a little different for us. And I think Sam keeps up on a lot of this too, and he has lots of good questions, and anytime we meet, so we try to keep sending emails back and forth. Is this a cost, or is this not a cost, or, you know, at this point, they're pretty locked into the square footage, but where things are moved around in that square footage, or what kind of lockers we're bidding for, and those kind of things are all things I think now we just need to know from day to day. So, yeah.
That's why I say it would be helpful, I think,
Yes.
if it's the same information exactly to both boards with just bullet points.
Right.
And then it wouldn't take near as much.
Yeah,
Coordination
design
for both
coordination, and like I said, everybody has their own opinions, but usually it'll come down to cost, you know, and talking to the coaches, and asking them how many kids actually do use those showers, or if we brought another school in, how many would we want to be prepared, you know, for?
Because it can be a really fun process. Right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
So it certainly would probably be different in a new facility using the showers as opposed to the field house we have now. I've not walked in there, but, you know, I mean, more kids may.
They may.
Well, that may change.
I think it's a garden hose.
And we talked about, they have a washer and dryer area, a laundry, but, you know, which we don't have now. Dave, and he was talking, you think we really need that? And we're like, pretty much running right, yeah, I think you do. It would be nice to have a place to throw those towels, and when you're in a new facility, that's not taking up much space. So I think it's, and the coaches to have an area to meet with their team and sit around a table. I mean, those kind of things we're talking about, because you don't want to get this nice, great facility built. There's always going to be things. But you do want them to have adequate, you don't have your field house anymore, so this is where you'll be having your team and watching the tapes and doing that kind of stuff. So, I mean, the sports is just one aspect, because that just happened to be the question that was asked. It's not all about sports, but we've talked the same about our science labs, we've talked the same about our outdoor learning areas, extended learning labs. So, I mean, that just happened to be a question that I don't like to be caught off guard. Because I like, okay, I thought we were doing this, you know, so I think, and you won't want to either, because now people are gonna start talking. When they see that ground break and this and that, they're gonna wanna ask you. And if you say you don't know, they're gonna be, well, $40 million building, and So I think we do, you're gonna be getting lots of information, filter through it, read it. You may not digest it all, but you'll probably be getting a lot more from now on, so.
It's exciting.
It is exciting.
Any other committee reports this evening? Public hearings and petitions, unfinished business, matters for follow-up, new business, right to revert to prior order of business. Do we have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Tyson?
Yes.
Sanchez?
Yes.
Tuttle?
Yes.
Arbuckle?
Yes.
Bailey? Haskell?
Yes.
Davis is yes, meeting is adjourned.